Of open phones, whatever you'd like to talk about. 989-752-6111. I'm going to start this hour talking about the fact that Michigan was in the Supreme Court yesterday of the United States. As you know, over the past several years, there has been a great debate over the Enbridge Line 5 oil and gas transmitting lines. And they've been in court, federal, state. Well, yesterday it went to the Supreme Court to decide where such a case should be heard. Representatives of the Michigan's Attorney General office offered up the state position, and Enbridge had their lawyers to express their views of it. It was a 1-hour argument, and it was unclear where the majority of judges stood by their questions. You couldn't tell. A lot of times, you just listen to the questions and you can tell which way the justices are going to vote. They say that wasn't possible yesterday. So, as an observer without constitutional training, I'm not a constitutional lawyer and all of that stuff. But just as an observer, it seems to me that the issue probably will end up in federal court again, mainly because this has to do with international trade. And what sparked all this, of course, is the governor's desire to shut down Line 5 at the same time that Enbridge was proposing encasing Line 5 in a new subsoil tunnel under the straits. It'll be interesting to see how the court rules, but as I said, the observers yesterday said you could not tell which way they were leaning. So there must have been a lot of pretty neutral questions about it. And it has to do with the oil and natural gas pipelines that run through the Straits of Mackinac. It carries an awful lot of fuel for good parts of the Midwest. So it's going to be, it's not going to get settled overnight. The court may rule where it's going to be in court, but by the time it gets into court again and gets ruled on and all of that, it could be a long time. So we'll have to wait and see. Let's talk to Mark this morning. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Art. How are you, sir?
Good.
I thoroughly enjoyed watching that speech last night, seeing Al Green get booted out within the first 5
Right.
minutes.
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. I think he likes that, too. He likes the attention.
Sure. And were you taken back? Did you know all the positive stories that were mentioned as far as the awards and so forth? On your local news station, how many of those stories were covered throughout as they happened? And I'm led to believe that maybe 10% was covered. All the positive news stories that you heard, the awards and so forth, and the positive things you heard was a lot of it for the viewers the first time they heard that. And that's shameful that legacy media, local news, doesn't cover that type of stories. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I just happened to turn on the tube toward the last part of the speech, and so I saw the awards being given, the Medals of Honor. Local news. I'll give you this view of it. All right. If it had been a local individual who received that award, it would have been top story. Sometimes, though, when it's not and there are other major things going on, those stories, if they don't apply locally, don't get told. I'm not inclined to think the local stations make a lot of political decisions that way. They haven't got, first of all, the amount of time to do that, and there's enough going on locally, and they have pretty strict formats. But I suspect if it were a local individual as opposed to someone from someplace else, you would have seen it. locally.
And that holds true for every president, as far as a Democrat or Republican. I'm just always taken back by the positive stories you hear at those speeches, but what percentage is actually seen on your local news throughout the year as it happens?
And then again, that speech was an hour and 49 minutes long. How much should the local tell you if you didn't watch the speech? I mean, they can't.
No,
repeat the whole
I'm not
thing.
saying just I'm not saying just the speech itself. What I'm saying is as these situations come up throughout the year, like Maduro being captured and so forth, other things that were honored, the legacy media, as it happened, doesn't tell the viewer that, and then they see it at these speeches, and then we're taken back like, I didn't know that.
Well, but the question is, here's a fair question. All right, so this pilot, he was the lead pilot, the lead officer in this capture of Maduro.
Mm-hmm.
He gets shot up in the leg bad enough that he's had all kinds of surgeries and he's in a walker right now.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that did legacy media know? How much did government release on those details? Did we really know who this guy was? Because typically, you don't hear the names of the pilots and the officers that go in on these missions.
Right.
So I would tend to say the reason you didn't hear about it is because they didn't know about it. Because I doubt very much. I doubt very much if any of it was released.
Yeah. Hey, you got time for another topic?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, not to blame the girls in the Epstein, but my understanding is they were underage. And if they were underage, they had to have been going to school. Did they see something, say something? Was CPS called? Did they talk to the parents? Did they talk to the doctor when they had physicals as far as being touched or anything like that? Not blaming the girls at all, but there was a lot of opportunities that it could have been mentioned. And if it had, are there investigations as to who had a stiff upper lip and not looked any further into the matter?
Good question. Don't know the answer to that. It's a good question. Should be part of the
Because
investigation.
A lot of presidents have come and gone since these girls were underage, and nothing has been said or done until now. And it just, I just have a few more questions prior to them becoming adults. Did they say something? And I said everything I said.
Well, I don't know. And if they did, was that information held back? I don't know.
Yeah.
All kinds of questions need to be answered. All right.
Absolutely.
Good
all right,
enough.
sir. Take care.
Yep. You too. Bye-bye now. And let's talk to Joe in Bay City before we take a break here. Joe, good morning.
Good morning, Art. How you doing, buddy?
Good.
Okay, I got 4 quick topics if you let me have them.
Real quick.
Go
ahead. If you got 4, make it quick. Well, I'll
Okay,
tell you what.
Trump,
I'll give you an option. You got to do 4 real quick, or hold on through a break, and we'll have more time.
I'll hold my breath, and I can't wait to get back with you.
All right. We'll be back in a few minutes, and we'll do that right now.
We're proud to make
All right, we're back with you, and now we'll get back to Joe in Bay City. Joe, go ahead.
Okay, Art, thanks for the opportunity here. Appreciate it.
Yep.
We'll start off with the State of the Union address. And, of course, as I've mentioned before, I'm a supporter of Trump, but I don't drink his Kool-Aid. And I thought politically it was an excellent performance by Trump. It was staged perfectly in my mind. People got their dues. He actually somehow got the Democrats to stand up quite often for them and clapped. So you got to give him some credit for that. And like I say, politically, I thought it was an excellent performance by Trump, and I was pleased. And I stayed awake for the whole thing, which is unusual for me. And so that's my take on the State of the Union. And then the Democratic response. Now that was, I don't know if I have the right words for it, very amateurish. I mean, I don't know if you saw any of it at all.
I did not.
But they had people sit in their chairs lining up along her, And I'm sure they had a light that went on, and they were all supposed to clap. And they were like robots. They all clapped exactly at the same time, stopped at the same time. And her, I mean, she was, I don't want to use the word disgusting, but she kind of was. She took everything that Trump has done, or not done, but pushes pretty much, main things, and just made the worst possible words come out of it, and wasn't even close to the truth.
Well,
And of course, she lied anyway. So when she
let's understand that was her job. That was what
I know
she's
it.
supposed to do.
I understand that completely. And of course, when she ran for governor, she lied. She said she was a moderate, but she's not. She's a progressive left loon. And now the Virginians are going to be for 4 years living with that.
Yep.
Anyway, so that's my take on that part. On the remember, you probably don't remember, but about 7 years ago, I called you, and I asked you a question. We were talking about our new governor. I think she's been in office for about a year and a half. And I questioned you, and I said, is there anything you can tell me that would want me to think that our new governor has been doing a good job? Any decisions made? And I don't know if you remember this or not, but you said, no, at this point in time, I cannot. Now, 6.5, 7 years later, I'm going to ask you the same question. Can you name a couple things that we are better off the last 8 years than before?
I'll tell you what she's tried, although I don't know that she's been overly successful at it. She does want to bring business back to Michigan, and she has made trips and tried and tried. I think it takes more than just the governor inviting business to come back, because you have to have smart tax policy and all of that stuff for it to work. But I will give her credit for trying to do that. There are a lot of things that happen in the state that we never hear about, and they're done in a bipartisan way with the support of the governor. And these are mundane, everyday, routine things that keep the state running. So from that standpoint, yeah, she's done okay. It's the big issues, obviously, that divide us in this country, and they will continue. They will continue to divide us.
Well, and for the most part, though, the big issues are very important issues, and
a lot of them are.
Yeah. And our forefathers, you said they always came to, they had their discussions, arguments, but they finally would get together. Fortunately for them, they didn't have a lot of things going on socially and with our country that we do nowadays that does a lot of dividing between us.
Absolutely.
They didn't have mutilated babies, so they want to be boys instead of girls. They didn't have boys who want to play girls sports.
No. That's not the big difference. The big difference is
what is the big difference?
How we communicate. They didn't have social media. They didn't have everybody else telling them what they should think.
Well, you're right about that. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll give you that. All right. Two quick ones is Line 5. Line 5, had it not been for our governor, our attorney general, that it would have been already in place 2 years ago, because they told, when Snyder approved it, they said it's a 5-year plan, and we'll have it done in 5 years. Well, the 5 years would have been 2 years ago. And here we are, still with the doggone thing under the water. And, if it breaks, quite frankly, which I hope it doesn't, it's on the Democrat side and for fighting this damn thing. So that, had they let them do it,
right.
It would have been already in place 2 years ago.
Yep, we'll give you that.
Okay, and let me quick one on Epstein. Your last caller there made some good points, but my question is, everything you said about the girls being young and everything else, why weren't they in school? How about the parents?
Well,
and, it's my guess.
Well, you also have to ask, what kind of homes did they come from? We don't know.
Yeah. Well, my guess is, and I'm just guessing, I don't know one way or another, but my guess is the parents got paid some money, and why aren't the girls actually coming forward? They obviously know who they were with, yet they do not come forward and say, Joe Blow was with me when I was 14 years old.
A couple have, but you got to realize how traumatic a situation it is for these young women. I gotta give them a little grace here, because if you were in that situation, you'd have to wonder what you would do. or if you had a daughter in that situation, you'd wonder what you would do. I don't know the answer, but
Well,
I do know
you're
do
right.
know that trauma can, cause you not to do things, and I would have to think a lot of these young women were traumatized, without question.
Well, no question. But
All right.
once they've got out of that situation, you would think once they got a little
Well.
older, they would come forward and say, "Hey, I know who did this to me."
Yeah, maybe some have. I don't know. All right.
No, I don't think they have because nobody's come forward yet.
All right, Joe. Well, yeah, that's not true. There's been a
Okay.
couple of them in the news. All right. We'll talk again.
All right.
Bye-bye now.
Thanks a lot for the
Yep,
time.
You bet. And in Bay City, we find Lou this morning. Lou, good morning.
Good morning, Art. After listening to Trump last night and everything, I have one comment. For all these people that are finding fault, why don't you give back the money you got for your child support that you're getting this year and your extra money you're going to get on your income tax? Why don't you give that back to the government? Then you can feel like you got something to complain about. That's my comment. Thank you.
All right. Good enough.
Okay.
Thanks, Lou.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, it is interesting. It's easy to complain, but you don't complain about the things that affected you positively. They're okay. So I don't know. But anyway, going back to this Epstein thing, and I had read the email earlier from the listener. It is my belief that there needs to be a thorough investigation outside of the media. Hear me. Outside of the media. There needs to be a thorough investigation. And when the investigation is done, if there are arrests to be made, they need to be made. If there are trials to be had, there need to be trials. But to sit here and speculate, who did this? Why didn't they do that? Well, it's done. It's time to figure it out so it doesn't happen again. But speculating does nothing. Because nobody knows whose speculation is right. So I say, dig deep. Take a deep dive into the Epstein matter. There's thousands of documents. I don't know how many they withheld, but there's thousands of documents, and most of them have some redactions to protect victims, which is fine. I don't know what else there is, though. I mean, one side of the news says, oh, they're all there, and the other side says, no, they're withholding everything, or they scrubbed this guy's name out of it, or what have you. Who knows? I wasn't there. You weren't there. We haven't read them. I just think that it's time to get it out of the news, out of the speculation, behind the scenes, and start an investigation. Doesn't rely on media. Because you don't know what you're getting when you get it from the media anymore. It's too bad. And I use that word loosely. Media is a big word, folks. But it's come to mean national news. But media is so much more. If you take out a box of cereal in the morning, the design of that box is media. There are all kinds of things that are media. You go to a movie, it's media. You listen to this radio show, it's media. You watch television, it's media. But it's not just news, but it's come to mean that. So we have to be a little careful when we use the word, because I think we ought to be more specific in who we blame for what. All right, let's take a break, and then we'll come back, and we will get to Ann and another caller coming in after these notes.
Motown Legends.
One thing. If they're getting their money, whatever they're getting from the government, give it back.
Yeah. I
I
love it.
I can't believe that the Democrats are so soft. They can't. I don't know what I want to say. I enjoyed the State of the Union last night. It was phenomenal, and I didn't think Trump did a lot of bragging. I thought he was pretty proud.
Yep. Well, there was some. He's always. You can always count
I
on him
know.
to do some.
I know, but the guys that got the awards, and then when the U.S. team came in, half the
Yep.
Democrats can't even stand up. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm proud to be an American. So
Yeah. Well, he did get him. I would. I'll give him credit. He got him to stand more than once. Actually, the Democrats actually got up several times.
I know.
I think, and I think part of that is they learned the lesson from the last time.
Yeah. It's just I was out yesterday, and there was somebody. I don't know how people could be proud to be an American. And I wanted to turn around, and I was just so mad at this person.
Yeah.
And it was a lady.
Yeah. Well,
And I thought, no, I'm not going to say anything. There'll be a fight.
all right, Ann.
So, all right,
Good
thanks.
enough.
Have a
Thanks.
blessed day.
You too.
Okay.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
And let's talk to Michael in West Branch. Michael, good morning.
Good morning, Art. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hope you are.
Yes, thanks. I think the president, I have a bias, but I think the president did an outstanding job last night of melding together his kind of rally persona versus the serious speech persona.
I got to stop you for a second here because I love what you just did. You started out and you said, I have a bias. No, really. How many people don't do that? I mean,
Yeah.
they claim to be neutral and all of that when in fact they have a bias.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with saying I have a bias? I love it. It's great. Okay, continue.
And I think I'm kind of like you. I'll call him. I'll call the president, any president, if I don't agree with him. I think they're doing something that's not best for the American people.
Excellent.
But it's unfortunate you couldn't watch the whole thing last night. My suggestion to you is find an hour and 49 minutes and watch it from start to finish. I'd like to hear what you have to say about it. But the reason I called primarily is that one of your earlier callers referred to the president as a clown, and I guess I take offense to that. I would say to him, how is he acting like a clown? I think he did an outstanding job last night of presenting the stark contrast between where the Republicans stand on the issues versus where the Democrats stand on the issues.
Well, let's
It was
understand
outstanding.
name calling has been all of a sudden very acceptable in the political world. And I got to admit, Donald Trump's as guilty of it as anybody else. And it's unfortunate because, and from, if I were advising, who am I to do that? But if I were advising the Democrat Party for their next election, I'd tell them don't do what you did in the last election, which was simply name call, Nazi and all of those things without ever telling us what you were going to do in office. You simply name called. And
can you think of a president who's campaigned on issues and said, this is what I'm going to do in my lifetime?
Does it?
Most of them don't, and actually does it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I don't disagree with you.
But let me make one point about what the person I was referring to who called earlier. I mean, he presented a contrast between an open border, inviting people in this country illegally, and the carnage that caused versus secure border. He basically talked about trans surgeries for kids and say, hey, that's an 80-20 issue. Trying to stop, hey, if you're an adult, do what you want with your body, but stop the carnage from little kids, children having those surgeries. He presented the contrast between lower taxes and high taxes. I mean, sanctuary cities versus, protecting criminals. You see, standing up against DEI. Do you want your job based on merit, or do you want to be selected for a position based on quotas?
Yeah.
So I guess I would agree with the president when he looked at the Democrat Party. Says you're crazy because they're 80-20 issues. 80% of the people basically support what Trump's doing on those issues.
All right.
I agree with him when he says, "Hey, you're crazy."
We'll see where it goes.
Again, I have a bias.
That's all right. Thanks,
Okay,
Michael.
thanks,
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and Kitty, hang on, and we'll get to you right after these notes.
Hi, I'm Stan.
All right, we're back with you here on the Art Lewis Show, and we get back to our phones. Up to Auburn we go, and that's where we find Kitty this morning. Kitty, good morning.
Hi, Art. How you doing, hon?
I'm doing well.
All right, I want to start out this conversation with saying that I'm biased. I love my president, I love my country, and I absolutely thought he rocked the State of the Union last night.
All right.
I got a couple things I just want to tell you, and I just want you people out there in radio land, remember when you go vote, Democrats sat down. They chose illegals over Americans, which is a big no-no.
Couldn't believe that.
Big no-no. And then I also thought I'm here in Michigan, our state reps last night were disgraceful. An embarrassment, an absolute embarrassment. I can't believe it. It's the one word this gentleman was trying to figure out how to describe the Democrats last night. I'm going to say childish. Absolutely childish. And then I have one last point to make. You were talking to this gentleman about, he said, well, why wasn't it on local news that these people are getting awards? You know, the military folks who went above and beyond and, did everything for their lives, for this country. I signed up here in Michigan to join the Marine Corps back in '79.
Oh, wow.
You know what, Art? I signed up not to defend Michigan alone. I signed up to defend this amazing country of ours. So, when somebody gets an award, I don't care if that man is sitting from Hicksville, Arkansas, if he went up and above for this country, risked his life. Yep. I want to know about this guy. I want to know about him. Yeah. I mean, I was never in combat, and I can never imagine that. But you know what? Tell me about these people. Last night, that was one of the best parts about the State of the Union.
Yeah, I agree.
Is looking at the heroes in our country that we have in this amazing country of ours.
Let me just go back for a minute, Kitty, because the question he asked, why didn't the local news talk about this? Why didn't we know about this guy? You don't know about these people until they get the award, because you don't hear the stories of the thousands of men and women, many whom risk their lives every day. When they get the award, all of a sudden you find out about their heroism.
I agree with you. And I just think, I think that's what the problem is. We don't have enough oh God, I can't even say the word.
Patriotism.
Thank you. Muchas gracias. We don't have enough of it in this country. And if enough of these young kids realize what some of this older generation, new generation, our military is. I mean, I went on my Facebook last night and I couldn't put enough American flags and hearts next to our comments about the military. So, that's the only thing I kind of had a little bit of a beef about when you said, well, it's not local, but I get your point. But, okay, that's all I got to say. I got to go feed my cat.
Go feed your cat. All right, Kitty.
Love you.
Love you. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
That's Kitty in Auburn, and we thank her for calling. Just to go back to the awards last night, the Medal of Honor awards. While it was heartwarming to meet these two heroes, it was, in a way, non-traditional in the way it was done. Because typically, you get a Medal of Honor, the Congressional Medal of Honor, you're in the president's office, the president gives it to you. But again, not to take away from either of them and not to take away from the meaning of the Medal of Honor, this president is theatrical. He looks for opportunities like this. As far as I was concerned, the reaction of the crowd of Congress said it all. Because in those two interests, with the 100-year-old captain and the lead pilot for the Maduro capture, they got their awards. Everybody stood up. Everybody applauded, and it went on and on and on. Because these are the true heroes of our country. They fight for us. They fight to give us the opportunity to do what we do here every day. Speak to you on the radio. Because they've protected our freedoms, including the freedom to speak our minds, free speech. They protect the things we hold near and dear, in this country. Yeah, we're a divided country.